Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noah's in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. YN niggas, man. Fuck y'all doing around here? Anyway. YN niggas around here. That's wild, man. But anyway, this is what I was going into earlier about massive geoengineering network exposed by whistleblower and Dane Whittington. This is from the Jimmy Dore show, which, you know, you got what they call investigative journalism. And you have whistleblowers that's shedding a light on corporations or crooked corporations, man. All right, like with this whole cloud seeding shit, the whole geoengineering network. Like, there's a new movie coming out this fall, which is a follow-up to the 2017 blockbuster film called Geostorm. And they put it right in the movies, and they show you exactly what they're doing behind the scenes, man. But yet the people are so oblivious to what's going on, to the point that they take everything as mere entertainment, because that's the only thing that the American person, or the American, or the Babylonian, which Babylon of all goes into confusion. These people are clearly confused. But long story short, the only thing they know is entertainment. Okay, they don't even, if you literally say that pigs fly, they will really believe that shit, because that's how docile and mentally diminished these people truly are. All right, they don't have any insight spiritually. They don't have any insight on anything intellectually. And American people are just dumb, and this is the reason why they're in the predicament they're in. All right, but anyway, it says geoengineering, which, you know, we've been speaking on chemtrails. Me personally, I've been speaking on chemtrails for over 10 years or so, and, you know, other brothers as well, because, you know, we study these things, we look these things up. You know, we research things, and, you know, we, you know, just filter things through the scriptures, and the result leads to this conclusion. All right, so I'm gonna let Jimmy Dore do most of the talking, which I'm gonna grab a couple of precepts here, and we're gonna let him do most of the talking, because I'm actually on the road. So to stay focused, we're gonna play the video, and it's another video afterwards that I may play if I have the time, just to show you the judgments that the Heavenly Father is bringing on Babylon the Great. But this is the book of Revelation 6, and I'm going to start at verses 3. It says, the second seal, war. And war could come in many factions. You have political war, you have physical war, you have germ warfare, okay? You have chemical warfare, or chemical war. I say it that way. You got nuclear war, you got regional wars, all right, proxy wars. All right, war doesn't always have to be just a flat out, everything is blowing up around you. But this devil has declared war on the people, man. That's why the weather's all jacked up. Like, you know, I was speaking to brothers recently. I'm like, the sun just feels extra hotter than what it used to feel. And I remember back in the 90s, people were talking about, oh yeah, there's a hole in the ozone layer. There's a hole in the ozone layer, which the ozone layer is basically a part of the atmosphere that protects us from particular atmospheric corrosion and things coming into Earth atmosphere, and certain frequencies from the sun, etc., you know, to kind of keep us protected. But if you pay attention and you look up, that you can feel that layer, or the firmament, or the atmosphere, is actually, it feels like it's thinning out, you know, because of the shit that Esau was spraying in the atmosphere. Or it can just be a chemical agent that he's using to enhance what's already there. Because, I mean, honestly speaking, they can't really destroy the firmament. I mean, they can try, but they can't. And they can't get through the Van Allen belt. So no matter how many rockets and shit they shoot up into outer space, they would never be able to destroy the Lord's creation, man. You know? But nonetheless, the sun is a lot more illuminated, or a lot hotter than what it was. And even going back into China, wanted to create artificial suns. They're just like, okay, why would you want to do away with the real sun just to create an artificial sun? You know, and that's really just to control humanity or creation, because that's how Esau gets down. All right, so this is the book of Revelation 6, and in 3 it says, when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. and there went out a horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And it says to take peace from the earth, and that was given it, and that they should kill one another, and that was given to him a great sword. Now, yeah, you know, going into World War III, the different world wars, the proxy wars, etc. Yeah, of course, you know, this world has seen nothing but war for the last 200 plus years under the rulership of this damn devil. But nonetheless, man, with his chemical warfare, he's able to, he's able to enhance certain frequencies and able to manipulate people's actions through certain frequencies, man. You know, and I believe that's what that jab was about, or part of it. Also, going back into this Travis Scott concert of, I think it was called, what is it called? Something World, not Juice World, but it was something called, it was a Travis Scott concert called Something World, and they got a documentary on it on Netflix. And I remember years ago when it came out, different reports came out that there was like some type of chemical reaction and that people couldn't breathe, and you know, it's just a lot of shit going on. And I think that Esau sent like a frequency or some type of left-hand spirit to throw people off, and a lot of those kids took that jab too, man. So that's part of the warfare, you know, in my humble opinion, because when I saw certain footages of the video, you had Travis Scott standing over the crowd like he was chanting, and it looked like it was this dark shadow or a cloak that flew over the audience, and all of a sudden people start passing out. They couldn't breathe, you know, they couldn't see. And I'm like, well, Esau must have activated a frequency or something like that. So this is all part of his warfare. But it says should kill one another, and that was given to him a great sword, which is his weaponry. And like I said, the Lord has given him the ability to weaponize this weather against people, man. All right. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna play the video, let Jimmy Dore do the talking, and we'll get maybe 1 to 2 more precepts, and that'll be that. So here we go.
What are they injecting into the stratosphere with aerosol?
Highly toxic nanoparticles, aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese polymer fibers, surfactants, and...
Now, Nicole Shanahan, I don't know if you're aware of this, she...
Also, fair use, fair use, fair use. I'm not making any money from this video. Fair use.
A bit of a bombshell. She was RFK's running mate. She was his vice presidential running mate when he was running as an independent. And she says the EPA says its plans to release information on geoengineering, which is what we just talked about. They didn't release any of the nothing. So we went and I looked at it. It's all garbage. It's all stuff made you to think nothing's going on. It's just like, oh look, there's nothing to the Jeffrey Epstein files. Oh look, there's nothing there. Oh look, the COVID virus came from a wet lab, a wet market. There's nothing to it. We didn't invent it. So here's what she said. Here's what she said.
Hey everybody, so EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announced today that his agency will finally release detailed information on geoengineering. If you followed me for a while, you know this is something I care deeply about. So this feels like the right moment to share. I have been speaking with a whistleblower over the past several weeks who has helped me really understand what's happening in our skies. They have given me information that could shed real light on these programs, who's behind them, where the funding's coming from, and what we can do to stop them.
Oh, god damn, man. It's fucking ass, bro. But it ain't nothing you can do to stop it, because it's really the will of the Heavenly Father. Like I say, Esau don't control the damn thing. You know, the Heavenly Father is giving Esau the tools to fully get his ass out of the earth. Because, see, this one thing about a dummy. See, you got a stupid person that is like, okay, you give him a gun, and if a person likes the way a gun sound, he likes the noise of it, you tell him, well, look, this is the sound it's going to make. Only thing you got to do is take the gun out of my hand and put it up to your head and pull the trigger. And something is going to go boom. And because of his infatuation with destruction, he's going to do just that. And that's Esau. So the Lord is giving this nigga the tools to totally eviscerate himself. So this is why time is speeding up, man. All right, because like I'm outside right now, I'm driving over the road, and it's a clear, beautiful day outside, hot as hell, but it's a haze in the sky, and that's not normal. All right, that's not normal. That's chemical, right? Those are chemicals, because the forecast says clear, and then when you look at the air quality, it tells you the air quality, whether it be yeah, nay, good or bad. A lot of the times the air quality is horrible because of the shit he's spraying in the air, but the haze that we're seeing is in fact not normal. It's chemicals. okay? Because the sky's supposed to be like a deep dark, like a dark bluish tint to it, and it's blue, but it's hazy, okay? It looked like somebody sprayed like Lysol in the air, and it's just this thick haze that's just we're breathing in, all right? And that's what we're seeing. It's not natural. In the kingdom of heaven, our skies are not going to be hazy. They're going to be, whether we have a cloudy day, a sunny day, or, you know, just a rainy day, the sky is going to illuminate its true essence, man. Not this bullshit that we're seeing and that we're dealing with. This is why crops are dying. This is why the trees are totally dehydrated and without any type of nutrients in the soil, man, because everything is being suffocated under this damn Edomite, man.
Struggling with memory decline after 50, forgetting names, losing your train of thought.
I'll be posting an article on my...
So here is that article. She posted, it's called The Dark Maha. That's kind of funny. Geoengineering, who's behind it and how we stop it. So here's a little bit, a little bit from her article. It's a long article, a lot of info. She said, I've been in contact with a government whistleblower, an individual who has held high-level security clearances and has spent over a decade consulting directly with major federal agencies. Their experience spans the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, NOAA, and the intelligence community. They told me that despite President Trump's 2020 directive to halt taxpayer-funded climate change initiatives, federal grants for solar radiation management, called SRM, and stratospheric aerosol injection, SAI, and other geoengineering technologies are still being issued. The programs haven't stopped. They've just been rebranded.
Sound familiar? It's like gain of function.
Sounds
Obama said stop gain of function, but they just did a lot of gain of function.
Yeah, so I remember in 2014, Obama puts a halt to the gain of function research that Fauci was funding, and Fauci just then went through a CIA cutout called Echo Health Alliance and funded it through there. So this sounds very similar, right? So again, you don't live in a democracy, you live in an oligarchy, and they're going to do what they want. Because voting...
Right, and an oligarchy is basically, you know, like well, it's not a republic, but you get what they call a monarch. Monarchs, which 1% rules and dictates the laws of the 99%. And see, that's what the people don't understand. They know somewhere down the line that things are being manipulated, but they feel like, well, you know, taxes and paying bills and mortgages and going to work every day is just part of the American way. No, okay? We supposed to be sovereign. Okay, we're supposed to be self-sustained through our own energies and essences and business. That, you know, we're not supposed to have to depend on corporations, but corporations have come up and they've totally hijacked our way of living. And this is why I was going into those storms. How, you know, even the thing with Maui and Lahaina, out there in the Palisades and all that other shit, like they had a provision already set up for 2028 to build data centers and all this, and all this other stuff. You know, bullet trains going through old neighborhoods. They already had provisions to do these things because corporations have basically bought you out, and it ain't nothing that you people could do about it. Call lawyer, how about you know, shot 444, you know. But yeah, so that's just how it is. Corporations have bought you up. You know, they buy, they come and invest in the land, and then they put billions of dollars. State sells it to them, and before you know it, you got a damn data center right in the middle of your neighborhood. You know, prime example, like around my house, we had beautiful, and I always talk about this, and every day I see it, it just, you know, it just vexes me. But you know, they cut down a lot of our forestation down there. Beautiful property, trees everywhere, very, you know, serene in a cut, you know, secluded. But now they literally cut down our forest to build a fucking coffee shop when we literally got 2 coffee shops not even a half a mile of the block in both directions. Like, how much fucking coffee can you drink? And then, of course, the Community America, they bought out a part of it as well. But don't nobody want to look out their backyard and see a bank or a coffee shop right there, you know? But that's what this devil do, corporations, man. You know? And you people, you just sit there and you take it up the asshole. And this is why, hey, y'all asses in the predicament you in now. It is what it is.
Isn't going to stop this. Geoengineering is now commonly called climate intervention. SRM is now referred to as solar radiation modification. SAI is now stratospheric aerosol intervention. These semantic shifts aren't scientific, they're strategic. They're designed to obfuscate the truth and shield these programs from Freedom of Information Act or FOIA requests, media scrutiny, and public opposition. Do you concur with that, Dane? Do you see this semantic sleight of hand happening?
I do. Stratospheric aerosol intervention is actually stratospheric aerosol injection. That is the correct term. But yes, that is common for them to do something like this, but the scope and scale of this is above almost anything else. It goes back to the central bankers. These programs have been ongoing for 80 years. We have Senate documents, government documents to back that up.
Well, a question. I thought that it was like 1928 or something is when they started doing like the fog, testing fog by affecting the weather. Am I not doing that? But it's like 1928, I thought.
But that's not this.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Solar radiation management, those are defense purposes. The screen curtain, those go back further, even patents before 1920. But SRM operations appear to have first been fully deployed over the polar regions immediately after World War II. So right about 80 years, and again ramped up since. And Jimmy, Kurt, you guys have seen every picture we've seen of the polar regions since we were kids. There's always this featureless sky, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we just take for granted that that's what the polar regions look like.
Yeah.
No, that's how long they've been hampering the system. That's SRM. It's been going on that long. We know they were beta testing during World War II because we found military footage of the B-17 bombers flying in formation that everybody assumes that's just a giant condensation trail. We found footage of them filming an aircraft above them, all in formation, shutting that trail off like it's been cut with a knife. Did that plane fall out of the sky? Did his engines turn off? No, they were beta testing. So again, we don't know what was what in World War II. They were certainly testing. They certainly deployed after World War II.
Oh my, man, these ads are crazy, man.
So when they say stratospheric aerosol intervention, you say it's injection. What are they injecting into the stratosphere with aerosol?
Highly toxic nanoparticles: aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese polymer fiber.
And I think you got like 5 different layers to the atmosphere. You got the atmosphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere. I think it's 2 more. I can't recall the name of it, but I think the stratosphere or the mesosphere is probably like the highest. Still all part of the firmament or the atmosphere, but it's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? That's why when things coming within Earth, that's why when they say meteors gonna hit the Earth, this shit just gonna burn up, man, when it hits the Earth atmosphere, because the scriptures go into like how the Earth firmament is like a molten glass, it burns things up. It's hot, it's warm up there, man. And it's less density. So it's basically like being on the water. That's why the scriptures refer to the heavens, the Shemayim, the waters, as in par with the ocean, because it's pretty much the same thing, just different element. Same element, but in different form. Like water can take the shape of many forms. Like you got vapor, you got liquid waters, and even with ice. Hell, ice is a form of water, just frozen. So in the form of the outer space, or the second heaven, as people like to call it. It's a different type of water, but it's the same concept, if that make any sense. All right. Psalms 46, and I'm gonna start at verses. Let's start at verses 2. It says, "Therefore we will not fear, though the earth be removed, and through the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea." It says, "Though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with swelling thereof, Salah." But it says, "There's a river, the streams whereof should make glad the city of the Most High, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High." Right, man. And that water is really going into the wisdom and the knowledge and understanding of this truth, the living waters. But also it says the waters there war, because these floods and so forth, man. Like they were speculating that dams and cisterns were blown and let loose to flood New Jersey and parts of New York. Hell, even in New York, water pretty much flooded the subway stations where the trains go. I think one flood I was a part of, I think it was the flood in 1993 or 1994 in Chicago. I remember it was me and my uncle. We was on the E-way going to my grandmother's house. He was dropping me off at my grandmother's house. And basically, we got caught in the middle of the flood on the Dan Ryan Expressway. The Andy brother that's from Chicago, they know what the Dan Ryan Expressway is, you know. One of the major expressways in Chicago, right? That pretty much take you from out south to, you know, downtown up north, right? But the Dan Ryan Expressway was flooded, and I remember that shit was like damn near up to like the bottom half of the door, you know, and we was driving through that shit, and I'm like, oh wow, you know, and we was stuck in traffic. I remember that. I was with my uncle, you know, and we was going to my grandmother's crib, and you know, I was just like, wow, you know, that's crazy. But yeah, man, these things are starting to intensify because overall, this is the judgment of Yahweh Shemyahu Shai, man. All right.
Surfactants, and as far as the term, and this is where semantics has come into this equation. We know that because we sued one of the most prominent climate scientists on this issue who's trying to hide it, Dr. Douglas McMartin, works for MIT, Carnegie, Caltech, because he was trying to play the game of semantics, saying, well, this isn't happening in the stratosphere, therefore it can't be geoengineering. And again, game of semantics. So the bottom line is the stratosphere over the polar regions, it is happening there because the stratosphere is lower. It can be as low as 23,000 feet. Here, where we're at, mid-latitudes, it's being done in the troposphere. So their game of semantics was, our definition of geoengineering is stratospheric, this is tropospheric, therefore it can't be geoengineering. It's ludicrous. This whole thing is ludicrous. Again, they're spraying us like lab rats, Jimmy.
Yes, and we'll get
Never
to...
stopped. Never stopped doing it.
And we'll get to the effects of what those nanoparticles have on your body, one of them being Alzheimer's.
Yes.
The whistleblower provided me with federal grant data showing millions of taxpayer dollars flowing to universities under these new labels. One organization stood out, the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research, or UCAR. What a great name for environmental awareness organization. UCAR? Just think how big brains are in these think tanks. Don't think. This nonprofit consortium of 130 colleges and universities manages the National Center for Atmospheric Research on behalf of the National Science Foundation. So just like how Fauci was able to control the research at all the colleges because he held the purse strings, and he was able to control all the scientists at colleges and universities that do the most important work. It seems like they're doing the same thing with this. 130 colleges and universities managed by... So UCAR has received more than $230 million in direct federal awards, yet much of the documentation about their work is...
Yeah, federal money, taxpayers' money. They're financing these corporations with our money to kill us and poison us off, man. All right, that's why the scriptures say it was given to him a great sword. This man is totally weaponized, something that you're supposed to enjoy, because ain't no way in hell you should have only 2 seasons a year. You got summer, then you got winter. All right, you barely have a spring, and then you barely have a fall. Then again, you know, to be technically honest with you, the way Esau calculates his seasons is totally off. He would tell you that winter starts, December, January, February, March. He would tell you that winter starts December 21st. I thought it was December 21st until, because each season is supposed to have 3, 6, 9, 12, 4, 8, 12. Each season roughly is 3 months, right? 3 months, which is 30, 60, 90-day increments, right? So you have 90 days of this weather, that weather, that weather. 3 months, right? Now, he would tell you, summer starts June 21st, so July, August, September, right? Then fall starts in like fucking September 21st, right? And then, you know, September, October, November, December, however, I don't know. You know, it changed. I don't know, man. It's just kind of off. But to be technically honest, you notice the change in seasons. Like, prime example, right? Technically, spring starts like the end of February or the beginning of March. So you can really count March 1st to April 1st, that's 1 month. April 1st to May 1st, 2 months. May 1st to June 1st, which is 3 months. You notice towards the end of May, shit gets unbearable. And that first week of June, that's when you start getting hit with these crazy hot ass temperatures. So technically your summer will really start like the 1st of June, not the 21st. All right, and then your fall season will start mainly September the 1st, then October, November, December. then your winter time really starts December, the beginning of December, all the way up until like the end of February. That's really how you tell it, because the weather starts to change at the beginning of those months, man. Okay, that's how it is. Like when you go into the scriptures and go into the first month, which is Abib, which means the, you know, the beginning of all things, you know, life, you know, when the spring comes into attack. But this man would say, oh yeah, spring starts March 21st. It's bullshit. Spring ideally starts around the Passover time, give or take maybe a week or two before, you know. So I gravitate spring starting what, like the end of February, early March. All right, that March 21st bullshit is all bullshit. But the weather's so jacked up to the point that Esau, he will literally, oh man, oh wow, the ramp closed. God. What the fuck, man? Why is this ramp closed? I gotta get off right here. Anyway, this man would tell you, he would tell you, yeah, he just basically concocts some shit up just because he wants to play the Most High. All right?
Inaccessible without an internal login. Even so, their public-facing pages and scientific papers reveal clear participation in stratospheric aerosol assessments and other geoengineering research. Here, I just want to show you a video she included in their article. This is a guy who's been advocating that we do this kind of science in the stratosphere, the troposphere, and do the injecting of nanoparticles into our atmosphere. And he was on with Stephen Colbert back when Stephen Colbert didn't suck and he was good. Watch this. Watch this.
When I lost my teeth, I felt confidence gone.
I was living, with a certain level of discomfort.
I never imagined that by my mid-30s that I would be in such an awful state with my smile.
At Brightly, we replace missing and broken teeth, restoring oral health with life-changing results.
I had some years where I didn't take very good care of myself when I was young and invincible.
You could actually spray sulfuric acid in the stratosphere 20 kilometers over our head and use that to stop the planet warming up in a ugly tech fix.
You could spray something into the atmosphere to change.
Spray pollution into the atmosphere to.
So this is a guy named David Keith. He's the geoengineer and owner of carbonengineering.com, and he wrote this book, and that's why he was on Stephen Colbert. He's been on lots of shows. This is just one of them. And he just says it right out loud. We're going to spray sulfuric acid into the atmosphere. And this kind of blows Stephen Colbert's mind back when he was able to have his mind blown by crazy stuff like this.
But he's never brought it up again.
And he's never brought it up again.
It's working.
How do you do this?
You start with a fleet of modified business jets and say 20,000 tons of sulfuric acid into the stratosphere every year. And each year you have to put a little more. And this doesn't, in the long run, mean that you can forget.
And yeah, fucking uric acid, like, why would you spray that in the atmosphere, man? All right, that's why the scriptures say that an unjust ruler destroyed his people. All right, only a devil would do something like that. And the crazy part about it is the fact that, nigga, you gotta breathe the very air that you're spraying up. Wow. So this is the book of Psalm 64:6. It says, they search out iniquities and they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the mind is deep, the heart is deep. Hebrew word mind goes into the Hebrew word lob, right? It says, but the Most High shooteth them with the arrow, and they shall suddenly be wounded. And the arrow, first and foremost, is this truth. Okay, this truth is like a thorn in the side of Esau because everybody's exposing them. Hell, you even got regular Jakes talking about chemtrailing and cloud seeding and all this other stuff, man. They going into how government corporations are buying up certain things and how they're controlling, manipulating weather for their own benefit, just to see how people react to it, just to play God. And that's what they're doing. All right. And it says here, so they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them should flee away. Right. All right. People are fleeing away from it because people are like, I don't want no parts of this. Like, this is an evil plan. Like, why would you want to destroy people's lives? And you the one that you need people, you need workers, and then at the same time, he wants to set up AI, so he wants to fully make an autonomous society when he's replacing humans. But you don't understand that you're going to need some type of human interaction or reasoning among the delegates of your society, because ain't nobody going to watch no AI play basketball, man. Okay, I don't give a fuck how advanced your algorithms are. You would never have an algorithm as good as Jake when it comes to playing sports. All right, you will never make a robot as good as Michael Jordan. I don't give a fuck what you say or what you think. You can try to clone that guy and download his conscience inside of an AI algorithm, and it will never be the same. All right, so you totally doing yourself a disservice. But that proves that he's a smart dummy, really a dumb dummy. He's just wise when it comes to doing wickedness, man. All right. So anyway, I'm getting ready to pull up at my destination. So play a little bit more of this and I end it.
About cutting emissions. We will need to rein in
No,
emissions.
we'll get to it eventually. But in the meantime, we're shrouding the earth in sulfuric acid.
So people are terrified about talking about this because they're scared that it will prevent us cutting emissions.
Right, and also that it's sulfuric acid.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide.
Okay, but it'll be better if we put more in.
We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more,
cowbell.
we're just killing 10,000 more people.
You can do math.
What happens to the sulfuric acid after it's sprayed? Does it just stay up there?
No, it rains down, but it's a tiny addition to what we're already doing.
Is there any possible way this could come back to bite us in the end?
It actually turns out to be an old idea. This was
Really?
known since President Johnson.
You ever look at those planes up there? They have contrails behind them. Maybe all those planes with the contrails, maybe they're actually spraying chemicals into the atmosphere right now and Uncle Sam isn't telling us.
Seems extremely unlikely.
That the United States is not telling something to its citizens? That seems extremely likely to me. Read the newspaper.
Boy, whatever happened to that Stephen Colbert, huh, Kurt? That was amazing.
He got sprayed with chemicals from a modified business plane.
I think he did get. So that.
Anyway, with that, all praises and glory, honor is due to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Lord's will you edify to the next lesson. Shalom.